So this is John Coster at the Documentary Media Centre in Leicester, and I'm delighted on the World Oceans Day in 2021 to be joined by my colleague, Cletus Clement over there in Nigeria. So good morning to you, Cletus. How are you?
Good morning, John. I'm very fine and well, and I'm delighted to be here live from Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm delighted to talk to you too.
Wonderful. The great thing about talking to you is you're exactly the same time zone as me at the moment, aren't you? So when you and I organise a meeting, it's always nice because when we say 10 o'clock, we both know that's the same time. It's wonderful.
Yes. Well, it's good to keep the time, though time is flexible over here, but I believe timekeeping is one of the essential things. If we need to move the world forward, we need to keep the time.
Absolutely. Yes, it. So let's talk a little bit about the main purpose of our conversation today, which is to talk about a new documentary film that you've got in development called We Can Save Us, and it's about local fishermen and the impact on their lives of climate change and things like that. But you've got a really interesting angle on it as well, isn't it? Because you're talking about the impact of local farmers and dumping things into, rivers and stuff like that, ultimately affecting the fish as well. So how did you come up with the idea for doing it in the first place?
Thank you, John. Like you rightly said, I have a film upcoming, which is called We Can Save Us. It's a documentary feature, and the story centers on local fishermen around the coastal community of West Africa. And I'm particular about this story, which interestingly is in line with the World Ocean Day theme, which is about life and livelihood. And it's inspiring to say that we are a product of our environment. And when we protect the environment, we are also protecting ourselves. What inspires me to embark on this documentary was the fact that I came across some local fishermen and I engaged them in conversation. And so some of them don't really know what global warming or climate change it's all about. And during the conversations, I realized that most of them wakes up to the fact that they saw a lot of dead fishes around the shore, and they don't know what's happened, how those dead fishes comes about. And I decided to it's an interesting angle to delve into this. So We Can Save Us is a documentary feature that centers around the lives of these fishermen, their activities, their family, the various stakeholders that make up the fishing community. And I want to be able to delve into their belief system, their cultural practice when it comes to their relationship with the environment, because you agree with me that they are actually directly affected by anything that happens around the ocean, because their livelihood depends on it. So they'll be able to give us a perspective within the coastal regions that will shed more light into the effects on human, the effects that they felt. And I believe in so doing, they will be able to also become aware that their own activity may lead to some of these causes. So that was what inspires me to create this documentary, and it's still work in progress.
I think that's what's such an interesting concept when I look at the teaser trailer as well, and your write up of what you're looking to do with the documentary as well. For the first time, it was not just about a community of people affected by climate change or things that were out of their control necessarily. So pollution in the air, dumping in the ocean, overfishing by the EU, or trawlers at the bottom of the sea, whatever. It was actually looking at where they were, that those things are all coming into play, but also it was their own practices of maybe, waste management, both human waste and sort of, pollutants, like rubbish, plastic, stuff like that. So that was contributing maybe more to their local environment as well, as much as the big stuff was as well. And I thought that was a really interesting concept, because that's what really struck me, was the way that you wanted to use the documentary as much to show local fishermen about how some of their practices were affecting the ocean and their livelihood, as educating them about, as you said, climate change. They're not necessarily aware of that. When you're caught in that day-to-day cycle of survival, and depending on something like the sea for your livelihood. Now, whether that's either to eat or to catch, to then sell, to make money for your family, you're not bothered about the big stuff. You're focusing on the small stuff. I mean, what do you think is going to be one of the biggest challenges for you? Is it, will it be the reaction to the documentary, do you think? I mean, do you think local politicians and local, people in charge of those kind of things are going to be surprised, shocked, angry about you covering this issue?
Well, irrespective of the outcome, I think I'm interested in telling the truth. And more often, we don't see things from the roots. We tend to look at it from, the peripheral. So the documentary is to delve into the root cause of marine pollution. Interestingly, we all are aware, some of us are aware that the world is made up of 70% of water bodies, and 50% of the oxygen that we absorb, it comes from the water bodies. And also it's a source of livelihood to a lot of people, protein, and even the carbon dioxide that we emit is being absorbed by this water body. So it's an interesting area that we must protect at all costs. So I'm interested in telling the truth to make sure that whoever come across this documentary, when it is finished, the impact will be felt in such a way that it will be a call to action, and it will be an educational piece in creating awareness that this is the effect of human action on our own life. Because like I said, once you affect the ocean, you are indirectly affecting yourself. So the local farmers will be able to tell us what they are facing, like waking up every day to see dead fishes in the ocean. And also some of them, like for example, when I was interviewing a particular fisherman, he told me that sometimes the water changes to blue, changes to red, different color. Sometimes they are not aware that this may be as a result of giant corporation industry releasing some of the waste into the water. So sometimes they feel it's an act of God or it's a natural occurrences. So by educating them and hearing their own story, they will be able to awake to the consciousness and understanding that the actions of human on the water body affects them also. So becoming conscious of this, they will be able to advocate. They'll be able to advocate to people and tell them that this is exactly what is happening. And even in their own individual way, they will be able to indulge in actions that mitigate marine pollutions. For example, some of these vices like dumping of refuge in the oceans, all kinds of stuff. So by becoming aware of this, they will be able to like, you know what, this is what we need to do. So I'm much interested in telling the truth of what is happening, irrespective of how people are going to feel about it. And I think, it's going to shed more light. And there are a lot of people that don't really know that their action can affect the environment adversely. So by producing this, because some of the actions through industry, giant corporations, people that are directly involved in marine activities, some of these things will definitely come to the forefront, and who have better people to tell the story, but the farmers themselves who are directly involved in this. So by telling this story, it will come to the forefront and also educates them in what to do and how to consciously protect the environment and make it a better place for every one of us to live in.
Yeah, I love that. I love that connection between fishermen and farmers, because people wouldn't make that connection normally. You know, people that live on the sea and deal with the sea, there's this kind of psychological feeling that that's one area, and then farmers deal with something else. Whereas in fact, what you do on your farm and maybe the chemicals you use and the way that you kind of manage your waste, both human and farm waste, actually does get into the river, that then affects the ocean, that then affects people that are actually on the coast, isn't it? So kind of showing that connection. So let's show a clip from your teaser trailer that you've put together, which will be great to show. Like I said, just a couple of minutes. It's 4 minutes, and we'll put a link when we put this film up on YouTube as well, so people can actually watch the 4 or 5 minutes. We won't watch the whole thing. I just want to show a clip of it because there's another question that I want to ask you afterwards. Okay, so if you just stay with us, I'm just going to share the screen now.
Water, you see that the water, you see the water is warming, and the sea doesn't like warm water. About warm water, by oh my daddy, put me back to canon. Tẹ́lẹ̀ kò ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀, nínú òjò tó ń rọ̀ gan ti fẹ́ bá rí òjò tó ń rọ̀, bàbá jáde ní ẹ̀wá rí pé ó dàbí pé omi tó ń wọ̀ mí. Ìgbà míì gan àwọn ẹja ẹ̀gan wọ́n ń kú, èdè àìdí, a kò máa jẹ́ débùté ńgbà míì, a kò máa rí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ òkú ẹja. Kíkọ́ tó fà á nítorí omi yẹn tó gbóná ni. This is all contribute to the weather. I think the climate weather contributes a lot to the diminishing of the fish.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. It's good that you got some local music in there as well, Cletus. I'm delighted about that. I remember that very fondly when I was in Nigeria all those years ago. The music and the environment. So I think you're on mute, my friend. Just so you know. Now, how far away from where you live is that community? Where did you film that? Is that quite close to Lagos? Is that just on the outskirts of Lagos?
Well, it's within the Lagos metropolis, and what I intend to do by the time I complete the documentary is not only to focus on one particular coastal area, but to go around the coastal area within Lagos and Nigeria, and if possible, extend it into other West African countries, because I want to be able to marry this environment together. And interestingly, we realize that they have similar issues and similar story to tell, so that in doing this, people who are not in this region can be able to look at it and say, you know what, this is relevant to us. So in terms of screening it, in terms of its vision impact, they can see that it's not peculiar to a particular region. It's also a universal issues that they need to deal with. And of course, try and see how they can practice good cultural behavior in ways to make the environment a better place. For example, in Nigeria, we have in the north festival called Agungun Fishing Festival. It's an annual festival that preserves the water body for fishes to groom. And so we have that cultural practice in Nigeria. And I think it's a positive thing for people to begin to realize that this water body needs to be protected. And also there's one at Oshun called Oshun Shobo in the southern west part of Nigeria. It's also a cultural practice about the water body. So the cultural aspects that are good that people can look at and say, okay, you know what, we are going to follow this route instead of indulging in vices that mitigate the environment, that cause marine pollutions and all that. So I intend not only to focus on one area, but different areas to marry the issue together to make it local, but a global scale.
Now, one of the things I'm particularly interested in is the fact that you're a geographer as well. So I've got a geography background at high school or senior school, if you like, A levels we call them here, not at university. I know you've got a university degree, I don't, but in geography and stuff. Was this the sort of things that you were looking at as well when because you did environment as well, didn't you? Environment and tourism. So I mean, these things are kind of interconnected, aren't they, for lots of different areas in the world where tourism is impacted by the environment and vice versa, they have an impact on each other. Does being a geographer affect or influence the way that you see the world?
I think it does. But interestingly, John, I was so confused when growing up that I didn't know what to do. But I find myself liking geography. Even in my high school, I was one of the best students in geography. And so when I got into the university, it wasn't a course that I wanted to study. I wanted to do more of engineering. But along the line, I just find myself studying geography. And I think even in my master's, environment and tourism, it's shaped my perceptions and made me see the world in a better view and conscious of how relational we are with the environment and how we affect it in one way or the other, either positive or negative. I think it shapes my thinking. And of course, filmmaking, which I happened to come across and indulge in by accident during my school days in college, and which is my source of livelihood now. And I think bringing that geography knowledge into filmmaking really shaped my perception, and it's another advantage in the way I tell story, in the way I see the world, in the way I'll be able to create my narrative and paint the world in a way that it gives the truth about occurrences. So I think it goes a long way. It really helps in shaping my belief system towards the environment. And also the tourism aspect, which I did in my master's, allowed me to engage people from different regions easily, and it does a lot of help to my documentary, and even affected the way I did my first documentary, which is The Backwater. yeah, and how it came out. It really is of an advantage.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting concept as well. When you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, is sort of, you know, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, that number 13 is climate action, number 14 is life below water, and then number 15 is life on land. And of course, your documentary is this perfect melding together of all of those three things, and capturing the fact that particularly farmers and fishermen, who are both from the same level in society in most cases as well. One's not rich and one's poor. You're talking about both people maybe at the subsistence level as well, that day-to-day living, and that even someone at that level is having an impact on their local environment without them realizing. I know the fishermen, it's not them that changes the color of the water to red or blue or brown or whatever, but at some point there is an impact that people have if they use these chemicals and stuff. And so I think it's a really interesting opportunity to educate many people through your documentary, which is, I'm so delighted and proud to support it as well here at the Doc Media Centre, and particularly through our new venture together, the Doc Hub there in Nigeria and the Doc Hub broader across West Africa that we've started between the two of us, which I'm delighted about. And that geography, the length of the coastline across all 17 states of West Africa is a really big thing, isn't it? It's an ideal opportunity, really, the first documentary to kick off our partnership.
Yeah, interestingly, the title "We Can Save Us" of the documentary is in line with the UN theme for this year, Ocean Day 21, which is about life and livelihood, and it's in line with their views and aspiration in declaring a scientific and innovation approach towards sustaining the environment, which they've kicked off from this year, which is 2021, that will run for a decade to 2030. And it's to be able to embark on research and innovative technology that will see to the sustenance of this development goal. And it's in line with this theme. So it's a coincidence, which I'm really, really much happy about, that my film is going to play a major role in also being part of this declaration. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. And I see ways in which it can be integrated into their campaign, and also make an impact in the local community as well as the global scene.
Well, yeah, I'm delighted to also be able to financially support you to kick the documentary off as well. And I know we're going to be developing the crowdfunder campaign over the coming months to get the documentary finished and completed. I know you've been out and done some of the initial filming there that people can see when they watch the full trailer, and just making sure that we're capturing the right voices and the right people are involved, that are best placed to both educate us but also share lived experience of the impact of particularly this high surface water temperature, which I was really surprised to hear about, where it's almost like the water's almost boiling and the fish are drawn to it and then it kills them. I'd never really thought of that. So yeah, it's a really interesting subject matter, and it's great to be able to support you. Thank you for talking to us today.
Yes, I'm very happy, and I'm grateful that the Documentary Media Center it's supporting my documentary. I can tell you it's been self-funded all this while. The initial shooting and production of the Doc Media Center is coming on board, and I'm also advocating for more funding because there's a lot of things to be done. And so, in terms of partners, interested bodies to see how I can be able to finish this up. So I think it's a welcome development, and I'm so happy about it that if I can get more resources through crowdfunding, through bodies like yours, for me to be able to round it up, yeah, it will really help and go a long way in making sure that the documentary is completed. Because then you will realize that it's not only for me to be able to produce this film, but the relevance of it and the impact it tends to make, not only in the coastal community among the fishermen, but on a larger and global perceptions and views. So I'm really happy that your organizations, the Documentary Media Center, is supporting this.
Great. Well, listen, mate, it's great to be in partnership with you and really kind of kick this off. You know, the first documentary was amazing. We're really proud to have shown it here as part of our Parallel Lives 24-hour newsroom. So I'm hoping this is the first of many, not only documentaries that we can produce ourselves, but also to support other documentarians, which is the idea behind the Doc Hub in Nigeria and its broader West Africa reaches to, you know, I know we've already had some development meetings with various partners and talking about education and how we can get into schools and encourage filmmakers at university as well to maybe start making some of the documentaries that are reflective across the region of the various sustainable development goals and the work that you can be seen. And I know both as geographers, that's something that's really passionate to both of us. That's certainly one of the reasons behind doing the Doc Media Centre here and the Parallel Lives project across the global south, is that's driven by that human and physical geography connection. So it's great. Thanks very much for talking to us today, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.